gosh, that's awesome.
It was great having you on.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Are you going to go over there today and get a registration?
This is way overdue for us.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
Some people will lose their jobs.
Yes.
Because ultimately, let's just be honest here, companies adopt new technology not for the sake of having technology, but they're looking at doing more with less people.
Yes. Shame on companies who tried to create efficiencies by taking that deep expertise and chopping it out.
I kept talking about it for years, right? And I just realized nothing's gonna change if you just talk about it.
If people don't do it.
Yeah. Like if you want the change, you gotta become the change.
If you've got the right person there, don't treat them like somebody you bark orders to. Treat them like the CEO of that property, and they will run it that way.
Or as commodity, like a dime a dozen.
Totally. How we show up for our people is so important, and you're so spot on. I can get really intense as a person when I'm not peaceful.
Yeah.
So I feel that.
It's unbelievable how your mood when you lead people translates into, like, it affects them in such
They feel it, right? You feel it, and I feel it on others.
For years, I was so blind to it. And just to be honest, I didn't care too much. I had to say, I regret that deeply. Because, at that point, people felt, hurt. And
yeah.
I made them feel bad for not a good reason. Because even if you're like, not a good worker or whatever, you made a mistake, we could figure it out. We could talk it through. There's no reason to make you feel bad about stuff. And it took me, some people just told me, this is not good, right? And I just learned. It took me several people pulling my sleeve and say, you said, no, this is not the way to go. But I want to start by talking about what you're seeing in the market, what you're seeing from your clients, whether they're property management companies or PropTech companies. I'm seeing a gap that it's kind of hard to close. I'm not sure if it's hard, but maybe conversations are warranted in order to close this gap. And the gap is between what PropTech companies are offering, their offer, and then for management companies to understand what's being offered. So do you see similar things out there, or what are you seeing when it comes to us PropTech companies building technology and then management companies not adopting technology fast enough?
So a couple things, and connecting dots across the industry is something I think we both do well. But then you got to gut test it, right? So it's like, here's what I see. So themes around amazing technology that's ready now, right? There's amazing technology that's ready today that could transform your business operations or transform your asset management or even transform your buildings, right? Or the resident experience. So it's ready, it's there, it's available.
Before you go any further, would you like to call out some great pieces of technology that you're seeing and be specific about what each one does? I think sometimes I tend to become very critical on technology. Yeah. But then there's also so much good that's happening. And I think sometimes I just kind of forget that part and I only go on the negative side. Yeah. I also want to acknowledge, great companies out there. They're doing amazing work. So
no, that's actually really good. I think, I work with a company called Assurified that's in the risk transformation. They have something where they're able to address your total cost of risk across the entire life cycle. And normally that's 6 siloed departments at an asset management to property management company. So it's hiding in your insurance, it's hiding in your fraud, it's hiding in your residence. And they have an ability to highlight that with artificial intelligence so that you can mitigate and overcome it with products and solutions on top of the artificial intelligence. Now, it's a fantastic platform, fantastic. So that's one. And then I also, one that's really simple is a company called Livesey. Have you ran into Andrea Taylor?
I heard the name, but I couldn't tell that I understand what they do. I know.
So I call it like finding the needle in the haystack lease. So it takes all of your dead leads and it nurtures them based on artificial intelligence. So like if you had people tour and you lost them 10 months ago, it'll start to re-nurture them when their lease comes up at the new building. It's got this whole algorithmic AI built in, and it goes out and finds these missing leads and leases, which it can follow up with thousands of leads in a night where, leasing consultants can only do so many all day. So it kind of overcomes that and frees up that high value time so leasing can focus on what's in front of them as well as focus on serving the residents. So I really like what they're building. There's so many popping up right now in different platform areas. Another one that I like, tech-enabled resident experience. There's a company called Please Assist Me that does bespoke luxury resident services and in-home package delivery with body-worn cameras. And they are able to take their AI and their platform and really optimize all of their team's experience and the resident experience at the same time. And I'm like, that's so smart to really free up that high value service delivery, right? It's about optimization. And there's a lot going on the maintenance side too, for platforms that are coming out on the maintenance side. Like I know Meet a Lease right now is working on rolling out their agentic maintenance, and I haven't heard anything about it personally, but that's just one example. Lots going on in that area. I know that Happy Co is working on it too, and really like optimizing that maintenance experience so that it can prevent service requests in the first place if they don't really need to be a service request, and free up that high value time for the maintenance technician and supervisor to really hone in on delivering that service to the people that need it.
So basically, they do the triage ahead of the time, and you don't have to make a trip to the apartment to discover there was an unwork order.
Exactly. There's also, I was just interviewing a gentleman who's got a due diligence platform called TriRely. And he has actually automated all of the due diligence documentation, which is ripe with human error. And it can read all of the documents, read all the lease agreements, create your audit trail. Like it does so much, and it's reducing the time for due diligence by a considerable efficiency. And I'm trying to remember the percentage, but it was beyond 50% of an efficiency, which you think about how much time that takes staff off the sites trying to do due diligence in a fee management environment or even a takeover environment. Big pain points. So this technology is ready. Like it's ready now, but you're spot on. And you call it a gap, and I call it being kind of stuck, right? It's like the industry wants to change, but at the same time, they've got competing priorities, complex prop tech stacks, short staffness, turnover, demanding ownership groups, and sometimes the ownership's in-house, sometimes it's third party, but it's this really complicated landscape. And then I think on top of it all, you've got a lot of fear around AI.
So how do we unstuck the situation?
So I think there's two approaches, right? One would be to pick something and start there. That's one approach. But the risk with that approach is that you're just plugging a hole. The second approach is...
In other words, are you referring to point solutions?
Yeah. So for example, let's say you want to address leasing. So you want to automate the leasing experience as much as possible. Or maybe you even want to roll out a call center along with some agentic AI at the same time to free up all of your on-site staff. That's one thing you're tackling at one time, and it's important. So that's one way of looking at it. But the risk is that you're building technology complexity if you're just looking at one thing.
So now, let's just take the twofold situation.
Mm-hmm.
The one side of that is, I want you to become my advisor from the property management company.
Yeah.
And I'm coming to you saying, Shelley, where do I start?
Yeah.
What are some, what is the foundation that I can lay to help me? I want you to guide me.
Yeah.
So just like, how do I look at my tech stack? How do I make my decisions? How do I look at, overlap between all the products that I'm more using? What am I eliminating? Like, what's my entire, just give me your playbook here, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear from you. What would you advise? And take me kind of step by step through your... Armin van Buren.
I love Armin van Buren.
favorite songs.
So I would say this, ideally, you actually want to meet with the executive leadership and do a workshop. And that workshop should be about where they're taking the business for the next 3 to 5 years. If you don't foundationally start there, you can't give good advice. So I meet with the executive leadership team, talk about really where they're trying to go and really what the pain points, along with a really strong SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and then really actually asking them what their comfort level is in transforming their business operations from corporate down to site level, and really what efficiencies they want to drive. Because if you're talking to a company and they're really foundationally wanting to keep business as usual, there's not a lot of work there, right? We're just going to keep doing things the same way we've always done it. And then I'd say that would be an engagement that was done after that business workshop. So you've got to really hone in on the goals as well as the comfort with transformation. And then also those pain points, like is the pain point compressed NOI? I think everybody says yes to that right now. Is the pain point rising costs? I think everybody says yes to that right now. Rising insurance costs, everything's gotten more expensive. Is it turnover? Is it trying to create a culture that drives the next talent pool into their organization and retains them? And I think from there, if the comfort level is there and the transformation is there, do they really want to dive into the whole organization, or do they want to start in the corporate office for the first 18 months, let's say, as an example, and then the sites, or do they want to start with the sites? And I always say kind of recommend starting with the corporate office. Like, let's automate AP, let's automate billing, let's centralize back office. Like, it could be really strategic about what they want to unwind and reimagine first to prepare for the site level. And then on the site level standpoint, it's like, what do you want the work to look like, and mapping out how the work could be, and spending time interviewing all of the stakeholders across corporate and at the site level. So it's a big engagement when you're talking about company transformation, but you really gotta have a whole roadmap around it and what you want to tackle first if you're really gonna organizationally tackle the whole thing.
Let's talk about challenges here. And I'm thinking top challenges would be here, first of all, internal turnover, employee turnover at corporate level, right? So
yes,
you start working with, certain group of individuals and they change, they leave the company. And once the new ones are coming in, you gotta, where do you start, right? How do you bring them up to speed? How do you integrate them? That will be the first one that comes to mind. Second challenge is that what I'm observing, like on my own, this is personal observation.
Yes.
It's most companies that I've been in contact with on type of consulting assignments, advisor type of assignments, they don't have a system to work with advisors, with external advisors.
That is very true.
And it's you get to a conversation, they acknowledge that there's a need, they see the value in what you do, but they don't have a way to manage the relationship with you as an external advisor. Yep. And that doesn't set you up for success or them either. So I'm curious about these two challenges. What are your thoughts and what do you see?
I think you're spot on, Adrian. First, I think you have to have an executive champion at the company, someone who's deeply committed to the long-term success of that company and isn't going to be going anywhere and is committed not to be going anywhere. And second, I think everyone's incentive, or I call it misaligned incentives, if you're really going to work on organizational transformation, especially if it's going to create a lot of efficiencies, you've got to do two things. Tell your great people you're going to make sure they have a job afterwards, and tell them you're going to figure out the path with them, right? You got to create an environment of trust and comfort and safety that this transformation, there's room for them. You're my top employees, we're making room for you, whatever this looks like. And what's the incentive to stay through that commitment and that period of change? Are promotions in the company tied to transformation? Are the promotions in the company tied to being experimental with technology? And I don't see a lot of companies doing that, but it would sure help.
Now, there are situations in which when you're deploying an entire ecosystem of technology, some people will lose their jobs.
Yes.
Because ultimately, let's just be honest here, companies adopt new technology not for the sake of having technology, but they're looking at doing more with less people.
Yes.
Because the highest expense that a third-party management company has, for example, their top expense is going to be the labor expense.
Oh, tight margins. Very tight, yes.
And also, they're prone to lawsuits and other things and other,
oh, yeah.
It's very hard to sustain. That's why we're seeing all these mergers right now.
Yes.
In an industry, because companies had to be at a certain minimum size in order for the numbers to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
A smaller third-party management company has a very, very hard time to survive in the current environment.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're seeing. And I also think that this is just the beginning.
I agree.
Of what we're seeing, right? We're gonna see a lot more mergers and buyouts of bigger companies acquiring smaller companies.
We're seeing it this year, right?
Yeah. We're seeing it in a big way. Yeah. So I'm curious now, what do you see? So first of all, there are situations, right, where personnel is going to be reduced. People will have to eliminate positions. How do you see them managing this situation? Because it's not a easy one, and also gives signal to the existing employees, to those that are being left over after the layoffs, that hey, you might be next. I mean, that's a normal human fear.
Oh yeah.
It's and how can they manage that?
So, and I don't mean to be controversial when I say this in any way, shape, or form, so I'm going to preempt this. First and foremost, you got to treat people well, even if you're, so have integrity in the process and be honest too. And this, I think, is the somewhat controversial part, is great people rise to the top. And it's more important than ever to be a really great employee and do a great job. And there's going to be room for you if you're doing a great job. And so I think that cream of the crop rises to the top is going to be more important than ever. So of course you would find a spot for your top performers, right? So there's that incentive there to treat people well and create a culture that attracts the top talent. Wouldn't you rather have a choice of people you don't want to let go than people that you're like, I can't wait to let go because the hiring market's so bad. I'm taking people I would never hire in the first place, which I hear happens in the industry. And then you've got a body on a property rather than a performer on the property. Someone who's ingrained in your culture and is a great employee that you want around for 20 years. So I think, not trying to be mean, but it's important to do a great job. And in this unknown environment, like when I'm talking to my daughter and her friends who are in college, they have a lot of fear, and I keep reminding them, I'm like, you guys are hard workers. You're gonna be just fine. All of us who are working hard are gonna be just fine. That's my 2 cents.
A lot of thoughts here, right?
Yes.
There is also a different side.
Yes.
Here, I have friends, people that I've known for some decades.
Yes.
That are on the market, executives, right? Top level. We're talking about director of real estate or higher, VP.
We're talking the Gen Xers like us.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, let's call that one out too.
And they've been on the market looking. So what I'm getting from them mainly, right, is that opportunities might be there, but they're not paying nearly what I need to be making.
Yeah, that's a whole other side.
Like my level. So it's kind of it's a weird situation, right? So on one hand, companies can't get enough qualified and top level personnel, and then these people that are highly qualified, they're not making a move because if they were, offers that they will take will be under what they need to be making, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's a very interesting dynamic. Do you see the same thing in your world?
Yes, and I think it's two-sided. And shame on companies who tried to create efficiencies by taking that deep expertise and shopping it out. Short-sighted. So that's all I'll say on that side of it. That goes back to creating that culture where where you're having a culture of integrity as an employer. So that's side one. Side two is, especially for Gen X, and I think even the maturing millennial side of the equation, is it's more important than ever to upskill. And like, I'm in school right now. Like, I'm taking certifications at Northwestern because I fear of getting outdated in the consulting world. And I also ended up going out on my own, not necessarily initially by choice, right? So I think we're all in this together. It's more important than ever, I think, to have a plan B and a plan C in this environment. And it could be that more of us, and I see more of us, entering that kind of shared leadership economy, right? I'm kind of in a shared leadership economy now. You are as well, right? People hire us for our expertise. But goes back to, I think companies are missing that layer, and they should bring it back, because it is very important to have that deep expertise at your company. So hopefully, and I'm starting to see this as well, as companies are starting to hire people back.
Another topic that's kind of like tied into the last one is AI, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of an AI in relation to eliminating jobs. There's a lot of fear in the market that AI is gonna take my job, right? So
oh yes.
Is AI gonna take many jobs, and which jobs are the most, I guess, prone to be eliminated by AI? And is there also an upside here too? Are people that are gonna be doing better in this AI-like current environment?
I'm going to open it with this. I saw a post on Instagram last week that really spoke to me, where a guy was saying he asked AI what its favorite color was, and the AI could not answer it. It gave like, oh, purple's good for this and blue's good for that. Like, AI can't feel, and AI can't relate per se. It can't replace that human emotion, that human connection. And in multifamily, in the built world, that human connection is everything for residents. It's everything. And that service is still and will continue to be a differentiator. And so I think high-level service, the ability to actually go into that gray area of problem solving and problem resolution that happens so many times. Like, I don't think an AI can determine if the noise complaint's valid, or if the pest control issue is truly a problem or not. Like, I think there's a lot of areas that service will continue to be a need, especially at the site level. However, on the other side, I think anything that is a very set process, so like accounts, Predict AP, for example, that's another company. Predict AP can completely make your accounts payable just to exception-based. That's huge. And that's not a fun job. Like, if we're being honest, it's not a fun job.
Who wants to do that?
Maintenance triaging is not a fun part of a maintenance supervisor's day. He is built for way more than that. So I think if we look at it for areas of opportunity to free up something that's gotten really complicated, and I think on-site management and corporate operations has gotten really complicated since I started in the industry more than a minute ago with my FedEx packages back in the day. So I think anything that can really be set and automated, I think anything that relates to regulations and fair housing and those kinds of things, I think we have to be cautious. Those are areas that I think you need a human in the loop at all times. I think marketing can be somewhat automated, but still need someone to drive the brand, and you still need someone to drive the whole real essence of the brand, right? It goes back to, what's your favorite color, AI, and it's like, I don't know. But do I think it could make a good template or a good rinse and repeat process, or help with like search engine optimization or geo? Like, I think those areas can get really automated over time.
Yeah, let's stick to the marketing. Marketing, it's a passion of mine, and I'm a student of marketing. I never went to school to study, but I market myself, I'll say, quite a bit.
Yeah.
I build a brand that's fairly recognizable in the industry, and I'm passionate about this, marketing, branding, and I'm not seeing a lot of companies doing an incredible job right there. What I'm really seeing is companies taking advantage of AI, making it very easy to like build a campaign, sometimes in minutes.
Yeah.
But it's pretty obvious that it's AI, and
Yes.
it doesn't really have like a lot of personality to it.
Yes.
And it's what we call the AI slop, right?
Yes.
And what brands and individuals end up doing more than any other time in a history, yes, now they're creating content, but this type of content, it's only made to fill in empty space. But does it really move the needle? I'm seeing people that literally, I could tell I'm using technology, I'm using AI a lot, right? But I think the way I'm using it is different than others. I use it as a assistant, not as a crouch, right?
Yes.
To just ask it, to produce something for me, and I just copy and paste, and that's the post.
Yes.
So I'm curious about what you're seeing for opportunities for companies to do a better job at branding themselves.
Yes.
From a strategy standpoint, what are the individuals within those companies that could move the needle, right? Could actually bring the attention to the brand through content that they're creating, and what would be a good strategy? If you have some pieces of advice there or opinions, I'll really be curious.
Yeah, let me start with strategy and then go into application a little bit. So on the strategy side, I'll use geo as an example. A lot of people are searching on AI now rather than Google. So your geo, you need to have a geo
95% of my search is on ChatGPT.
Oh, totally. I use Claude, so totally.
Exactly. Sometimes Claude. So Google only when I'm looking for a location,
yes,
right?
Yes.
If I'm looking for a location to localize a business,
yes,
to locate a business, I'm going on Google. Everything else for me is ChatGPT. I speak to it,
yes,
and it gives it to me in a form that's already been digested, right? It's been like synthesized for me. I don't have to click on a lot of blue links like in Google and then make up my own mind. ChatGPT does all that work for me, and it gives me the final product of that process.
Yes. A lot of companies don't have geo strategies yet, and geo thrives on consistency of information.
Let's dig into first like what's geo, because maybe
Sure.
a lot of folks are not familiar with the term.
When I first heard it, I thought it meant like geo-targeting, right?
Or geolocation, right?
Right, but it's really your agentic AI search. It's the new SEO for AI. And I don't know why they named it that. That's a good question. I'll have to ask Claude. But if you have to have a strategy to show up. And one example, all your photos, AI hates stock photos. And it also doesn't like it if it's not named what it is. So you have to use real photos, and you have to name it exactly what it is.
So you have to name your file, right?
Yes.
Like name your file.
So if it has a numbering system to the file, that's not going to be received.
That's so interesting.
Yes. So it wants to be like Ashcroft Apartments, drone pool view, and then that way it can pick up the search term, and it also will look at it and go, is this a stock photo that I have seen as an AI agent 1,000 times, or is it the real pool or not? And it'll score it as such. So that's one example. You have to have consistency, you have to have authenticity, and reviews are more important than ever. And having a strategy and training with your teams who are answering those reviews. I know some companies have actually got somebody who just answers reviews now because they're trained in it to have an authentic, on-brand voice, and you're not doing the same answer. And the same answer has always been, let's take this conversation offline. Now you need to address it, be authentic, and ask to take it offline. So got to have a strategy, and then that goes to, I think, a new job, right? We used to have our property managers really answer those reviews. It's hard to be consistent in a brand strategy if you don't have one person that's really owning the brand and owning the voice.
Who are the people that are thriving in an era of AI? I'm talking about, first of all, let's just make a distinction between employees and also solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and businesses. They're thriving. So let's take each category. and which ones you're seeing thriving in this era? Because somebody is winning, right? Maybe some people aren't winning, or some are losing big. As far as losing their jobs, there's a lot of turmoil out there, but there's also winners too. Who are the winners?
Where do we want to start? That's actually a great question. Do we want to start on the owner side? And
by all means, just take it anywhere you like.
What's hard is I don't think I can really name an ownership group that's really owning AI. I think that goes to, I'm making an assumption here, but I'm also connecting a lot of conversations. The financial buyers in the industry are the owners, truly, right? They've got that purchasing purse.
Yep.
Their financial buyers aren't necessarily looking to AI to solve anything, I don't think. And if anything, I think there's a lot of skepticism or they've been burned, right, by early deployments. So that one, I think there's a lot of opportunity to really roll out, really transforming AI. For example, like a Lenny, that company comes to mind, where you can actually have an agentic analyst embedded in your data to give you real advice, whether you're in asset management or operations. To me, that's I know an ownership group that's got 4 analysts full time. What if you had 4 analysts full time that were actually doing analysis rather than stuck in spreadsheets 6 to 8 hours a day, right? So I think that's one example. And I don't have a lot of good examples to even throw my hat in on the ownership side. On the operations side, I know of a couple companies that are actually working on full plans right now for transformation. Not that I can say names, but they've got plans in the works, which I think is hopeful. Who are you seeing really on the operations side that's super transformationally into AI?
As companies, I'm not seeing a lot, right? What I'm actually seeing is that executives from various groups, whether they're owner manager or third-party manager, they're just saying, we don't have enough information to move forward with anything, because PropTech companies are not doing an amazing job at educating us, right? And I'm seeing 2 situations, and neither one of them is great news for PropTech companies. No. Could be. It's an opportunity. I'll take it back. So here's how I'm seeing it. Larger companies, they have chief technology officers on their staff.
Yep.
But the CTO is not an AI expert. They're looking at hardware, systems, other things, right? When it comes to IT, they're not your AI expert. So it's not very helpful that they have that position in speeding up the process of accelerating AI integration or transformation. And then the second one is your smaller groups that don't have a CTO role, and they have even less resources than the big groups.
They do.
So everything's at a standstill, right? But what I'm hearing constantly is that we wish there'd be more information that helps educating us in where should we start, what's the playbook here, where do we start, how do we proceed with this adoption. On a PropTech side, I'm actually curious of what you're seeing and what are some who's winning, who's doing a good job out there in educating their potential clients on strategy, right? Giving them some clarity.
What I hear on the owner-operator side is, show me the case studies, right? Show me the proof points. And I think that's reasonable. And so when I'm working with PropTech companies, it's one of the first things I work on is, let's get some case studies. What are we expecting? What can you get? What's the minimum expectation of what you would get? And let's just start with that. So I believe people are looking for proof points. In some ways, I think the not the SMB, but that middle market size, someone that's vertically integrated, I'm seeing a lot more innovation in-house there because they're open to experimenting and there's not as many stakeholders to engage. On the larger company side, I am starting to see a position get hired for change manager. And Brendan from Fifth Wall, he was on a panel and he said that the built world is short like 21,000 people to lead change. Like if you want to talk about jobs that are going to be around for a while, if I was in multifamily or the built world right now, I would go get PMP or change management certified, because we can't roll things out if we don't have people to drive and own that change and make sure everybody feels good about it or takes the feedback along the way and fixes what's broken in the change. So that's kind of an off tangent, but I think that is like an area that I'm starting to see. Like AOG Living was at the Inhabit conference in April, talking to them, and they had 2 full-time change managers, and I'm like, that is so smart. They're like, we couldn't do it without them, right? You can't just keep piling things on people's plate in managed services or in your support team or in your tech help desk and go, here, let's do 35 initiatives this year and roll out change. But we'll put that on Susie's plate, who's already got a full load.
So I'm super curious here, right? How much awareness does it exist at property management company level that they actually need change management and they actually need to hire people that could drive that? And they're not, like you said, they're not putting on Susie. Just say, Susie, by the way, now you're in charge with change management, because that's a totally different skill set out there. It's not just everybody could do it just because you could assign it to them. So what do you see? Is there enough awareness out there for them to say, to acknowledge, hey, yeah, like this is something that we must be doing. It's gonna be part of our business plan, and we got to go out and find those people that could help us.
Certainly not enough, and that goes back to any financial buyers who are watching this podcast today. Like, change is inevitable, and right now I think we're in that low-hanging fruit time, where if you roll out the efficiencies now, you're going to have an edge for like 3 to 5 years, and then everybody's going to have it, right? So it's coming regardless. You're going to have to do it at some point just to stay in business. It's kind of like saying you needed cable at your property as an amenity back in the early days. It's going to be standard, right, at some point. But the other advice I've been giving prop tech companies is, why don't you have change managers and have that as an engagement?
To offer as a service and help you, like it comes with a package of, I'm selling you this prop tech, right?
Yes.
And I'm also bringing change management a part of the package. Is that what you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And for example, Hio, do you know Jen Finn at Hio?
I know Jen, yeah.
So she's rolling out accelerator programs for change, just so organizations can get ready to actually deploy a way to learn differently on her platform or access knowledge on her platform, because she's like, oh, that's what's needed. And so if you have that service and a company isn't going to invest in that full time, they can get the benefit of that service as a prop tech provider so that it doesn't delay the implementation, the onboarding, and the adoption.
If I'm a prop tech company, I'm coming to you for advice, right?
Yep.
Hey, what's your playbook to help me become successful in selling my prop tech product to property management companies? Because I think that there's a lot of pain out there.
There is.
In the market. Like prop tech companies are hitting a wall when it comes to making their point and selling, and there's a myriad of reasons for why, right?
Yes.
And each situation is different. But if I'm coming to you and say, Shelley, please share your playbook. What's your playbook for a property company? What they should be doing right now to become more successful at selling their products to the property management companies?
I think the first best piece of advice for all of us, including prop tech companies, is it's not about us, it's about our customers. And so I usually get under the hood and look to see if they're making it all about them or if they're making it about their customers. And if you're not making it about your customers, they're not going to listen. It's not about you. You have a platform that solves problems. Make it about solving your customers' problems. So that usually...
Why should I care about your product?
That's first thing under the hood.
What's in it for me? Like,
yes.
Why should I care?
Yes.
You build something, okay, so what?
Yes. My business coach put it to me early on when I was first starting to make my content on LinkedIn. He's like, Shelley, you're not the hero. You're the guide. So who's the hero? And I'm like, oh, my customers are the hero, right? And then now it's like, duh. But we sometimes, I think, can't get out of our own way. And so you have to kind of get out of your own way make it about your customers. And then what I usually do is get under the hood, do a diagnostic audit of the company from tip to tail, sales all the way through support and customer success and renewal, and kind of look for the opportunities and where the work really is. What are the top problems they're facing? Is it a scale issue? Sometimes it's even a customer fit, right? It just depends at where they're at. And so I always make a custom engagement based on where they're at. And sometimes we'll even start where we think we're at and have to pivot mid-engagement because it really becomes something else. But I look at everything. I really consider myself an embedded partner and try to look at it like the owners of the prop tech company would. What do they really need out of it? And sometimes it's as simple as language. In multifamily, if you say tenant, it reeks of being an outsider. They're residents. It's warm. It's home. There's an emotional feeling to it. And so sometimes it's as simple as getting alignment on language. And then I can make, sometimes it's sales playbooks, sometimes it's persona playbooks, sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's content strategy and thought leadership or a conference plan. But I really truly am passionate, especially from my years in customer success. I'm super passionate about aligning strategy to successful adoption and solving problems and having those case studies to really show for it. That reek of you'd be stupid, or as your hat says, the offer, it's too hard to refuse, right? So that's
make it so good that they'll feel stupid to refuse it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Who are the employees that are thriving in the AI environment, or now and in the future? What type of employees? What's like a great profile of a great employee that's gonna make a killing in this environment?
I think the first word that comes to mind is adaptive. It's so important to be flexible and adaptive, and I think that goes into, and this is, I've been having this conversation with my daughter. She's like, I don't know what to study. And it's like stoicism, critical thinking, debate, history, reading. Like, I think it's so important to know how to take a problem, pull it apart, put it back together, take a solution, pull it apart, put it back together. Those skills I think are going to be more important than ever. And I don't think anybody's going to be doing the same job their whole life. And so that flexibility to continue to grow as a person and learn and change is going to be more important than ever. Hardworking for sure. Does that answer it?
Yes, it does. I'm processing. I'm a process type of person. Sometimes you're gonna hear like a lot of silence from me because I'm processing the stuff.
Let me also say this.
I'm slow to I'm slow to process. Like
you are not.
Sometimes I'm just that way, right? I'm getting quiet, and my mind runs like, but inside, right? It's quiet.
Yeah. I will also say, and this goes to a generation that has been raised on their phones, learning how to connect and how to deliver really high value service and solve problems is going to be a top skill. Property Meld.
Oh yeah.
Have you run into the Property Meld? It's Ray from Property Meld.
I know the founder.
He's super cool.
Shout out to Ray.
Oh my gosh. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, why can't I think of his name? He's so fun too. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah. I've been invited to speak at the PMx Summit.
Oh.
Mark Rowe is the keynote speaker, so
nice.
I'm very excited. Maybe get opportunity to take a picture with my Rowe.
Absolutely.
Especially in the light of my new initiative with a nonprofit that I started. I hope that some of that fame rubs off and attention right to our initiative, because want to make a difference, and we believe that we could build these apprenticeship programs at scale. That's never been done in an industry before.
It's so needed. Can I give you an example? My dad was a pattern maker, skilled trade. 6-year apprenticeship to become a leader, and he became a shop manager, and he had a really good life. He was in a union, and it was a great job. Like, I love what you're doing with that. It's so needed in the industry. It's a profession.
Well, not only that, but we're up against stakes that never been higher.
Yes.
3 weeks ago, I read an article that Meta invested $155 million into apprenticeship programs to train technicians for their data centers.
Oh yeah.
They're not gonna pay $21 an hour like we do.
No, they will not.
They're paying for the entire program.
Yep.
So you earn while you learn.
Yes.
During the program, and then they hire you.
Awesome.
Directly. And I promise you that those guys will be $45, $50 an hour start.
Talk about an opportunity to find the efficiencies now so that you can be prepared for later and get great talent who's going to serve the residents. So I love what you're doing with that, right on time.
It's it's way overdue, really. It's way overdue, but I kept talking about it for years, right? And I just realized like nothing's gonna change if you just talk about it.
If people don't do it.
Yeah. Like if you want the change, you gotta become the change. You can't really expect. I can't really say, hey, we want some change and expect you to do anything if I'm not doing anything, right? Something. And I just figured, why not me? Why not now? Super pumped about this. Great. We have an amazing stellar board, and we have big plans.
I'm really happy that you're tackling this, and you're so spot on about taking action.
I mean, we must. We're like way beyond that, point of you waiting. Like, the waiting, it's not going to bring us any good.
I wonder if they need to create, and this is an opportunity for someone, is to do the same thing on the property manager side of the ecosystem. It's because really I was hired as a leasing consultant with the whole goal of growing, right? It was an unofficial apprenticeship, but there has to be more than ever a path. And I think looking at my daughter in college and her friends, they're looking for a path too. Someone show me what the path looks like. So similar to what you're doing, I think that could happen on the operations side and be very successful.
I won't be surprised if our nonprofit will take that as like phase 2. Once we get the maintenance side of things here, because we acknowledge like part of our conversations on board are actually that it's not just the maintenance that needs this, but the leasing management side needs the same thing.
Absolutely.
There's just not we're not bringing people into the industry at the speed of which they're living with, so this gap widens, right?
Yeah.
And
then it slows down the ability to lead change with that type of environment 100%. As well.
It's tough. It's incredibly tough to lead change and also to run daily operations when you're always short-staffed.
Oh yeah.
On both sides.
Been
right?
there, done that, especially on the fee side. Fee management's hard.
It's super hard.
Hard.
And it's getting harder. Like, it's
Agreed.
getting way harder. It's brutal out there.
Agreed.
It's super brutal.
I have a whole bunch of sentiment on what drives that too, but it's...
Want to share?
I think, it goes to some of the best experiences and some of the worst experiences I've had have been in fee management. It's a bittersweet pill. But asset management on occasion or in certain companies may or may not treat operations and maintenance like they're not at the same level as
true.
They are. And I'm trying to say that with some kid gloves on, but I've had some experiences where it's like, we're not dirt. We're making you all your money. There's a lot of power in that, so you might want to treat people well, and they'll stay around. If you're wondering why you're having a lot of turnover, you might want to look in the mirror.
Without you, the corporate person is not gonna, get a check.
Yes.
Like if you're not producing, because they're not, they're like not directly producing, right? Like it's not that they're not valuable, but they don't have a direct role at the property level.
Yes.
Oversight, it's a different thing. If your site level doesn't perform, you basically end up not having a job.
Oh, totally.
Right.
And
you as an executive or you as a company, you get fired from managing assets.
And I would add too, like, we should treat our property managers like the CEO of the property. And if you
100%.
start to treat people that way, you'll get a better result out of them. You got to have the right person there first. Like that, you got to hire the right people first. It's a two-sided coin. But if you've got the right person there, don't treat them like somebody you bark orders to. Treat them like the CEO of that property, and they will run it that way.
Or as commodity, like a dime a dozen.
Totally.
Well, Shelley, this was truly incredible.
Even with my bloopers. This was great. Thank you so much.
Of course, we're gonna make a special segment with your bloopers. I'm kidding.
What's his name?
I'm totally kidding.
Oh my gosh.